The bunch tight end formation is one of the best formations in all of Madden 26, and in this year's game, it's actually really, really effective when you blend this formation with another formation, another power formation, such as a bunch X nasty, for example. The best way to run bunch tight end this year, in my opinion, is to audible into it. It's kind of the best way to run bunch tight end pretty much regardless of the year. And so I'm going to be showing you kind of a little mini scheme, if you will, of how to actually accomplish that and what are some of the best plays out of the bunch tight end formation. Now, this is going to be based out of the New York Jets offensive playbook. You can cross apply a lot of these things to Minnesota or Jaguars or whatever bunch tight end you want to run. But this specific one is going to be coming out of the New York Jets offensive playbook. So what we want to do real quick is we want to make sure that when we're in our bunch X nasty, that at the bottom right of the screen, you're going to see these packages. We want to put this on the tight end slot package. That's really, really important. And then as you see, what it's going to do is it's going to put two tight ends on the field. So what you're going to want to do is go through and just sub out and sub back in your players where you want them to be. So I'm just going to sub my players in and back out where I want them to be. And then you're pretty much good. Now, for the core of how this scheme is going to work, we're going to be coming out in bunch X nasty to the short side of the field. And then we're either going to flip our formation and actually run bunch X nasty, which we have a ton of play breakdowns on that, or we're going to audible into our bunch tight end or trips tight end formation. So for this sake of this video, we're going to show this out of bunch tight end. But before we get on the field, I do want to go ahead, go over two things. First and foremost, your pass protection. In my opinion, the best pass protection that you could be using in this game is the empty pass protection, especially against better players. This is going to help not only pick up stunts, but I think it does a little bit better job against some of the main blitzes in this game. Now, once we have that set, we're going to go to our bunch tight end formation here, and we're going to set our audibles. What's nice about bunch tight end is you can be very simple in it and actually have a lot of variety, a lot of variation. So what I like to do here is the most important play to have in bunch tight end, in my opinion, and the whole reason why you would want to run bunch tight end is for this play, RPO alert bubble. This play, RPO alert bubble, is really, really good. And it just challenges defenses. I'm going to show you something cool with it. It's probably one of the best plays in this game. I think it's a top 10 play in the entire game. The other audible that I think is a must-have is spacing. What makes spacing so good is it has a good flat route on the left, and then it also has a really nice table route to the running back on the right-hand side. The other two plays, honestly, you can kind of do whatever you want to do. It's really up to you. However, I'm going to give you my recommendation. So for the first one, I would suggest the play mesh. The reason I like mesh is because you can kind of get it set up relatively quickly and you can just attack the defense quickly. It's one of those things where there's not necessarily a ton of crazy routes on the play, but it's very quick snappable and you can get it set up quick and snap the ball quickly. If you don't want to run that play, you could put triple out in there. Triple out's very versatile as well, but I like mesh just because of the quick snap ability of the play. The next play that I would recommend is, if you go to the bottom here, this play, PA boot over, just a lot of different variations of how you could run the play. And it's one of those things that, I just think it's good. If you want to pass the ball a lot, this has just been one of the best plays of Madden for a very, very long time, and it's still very good. Now, another play that you could run is just the basic inside zone or even QB wrap. The inside zone is really good out of this formation. It's hard to stop, but in my opinion, you have the bubble. The bubble is going to get the job done just fine for us. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to come out in this bunch X nasty, and I'm going to show you kind of how we're going to run this. So we can come out in whatever we want out of bunch X nasty. I'm not going to be spending too much time on this right now, but we'll just come out in Y flag goal line. Super powerful play, right? And what we want to do is when we come out in the play, we want our bunch to be to the short side. So for example, if we came out on this right, if we were on the right hash, then we would come out just like we did. We would come out with the bunch just like we did. And what we can do is, you'll see it's a very quick audible. We go one click to the right and we're into bunch tight end, and then we can audible over here and we can start setting up our plays however we want to run the plays. Okay. So that is like part A of everything, is you're going to go from bunch X nasty to bunch tight end. Now, if you were on this hash, let's say you came out and you were on this hash, it wouldn't really make sense to flip into bunch tight end because now your three receivers are to the short side of the field. Okay. So what we would do is we would come out in bunch X nasty flipped so that our bunch X nasty is always on the short side of the field. So we're going to come out in bunch X nasty flipped. And then when we audible, you're going to see here that it puts this guy over here to the side. So as you can see, so super nice. And then this is what I wanted to show you. This is what makes this super powerful is this bubble screen. If you guys didn't know, what you could do is you can actually put this guy on a flat and it makes it a significantly better play against both man and zone. You can actually put him on really any route for that matter. And what you do is you're going to put him on the route as soon as you audible. So when I audible to the bubble screen, I'm going to immediately put him on the route. So I'm going to audible, immediately put him on a flat route. And as you see, he stays on a flat route when he goes across the field. And then this can be a relatively quick snap, type of bubble screen. Now, we're going to show you why this is really good. So the reason that this is really, really good is because of the man coverage. So you'll see here, if I put him on this flat, he's manned up on this play. And a lot of times what's going to happen is he'll just beat the man coverage defender perfectly. And you see how it just makes this bubble screen a lot better. Now, if you know that they're in zone coverage, I would say that I think the base bubble like this is pretty good against man coverage or zone coverage. You'll see right here, does a pretty good job. They get their blocks and you can run it just like that against man coverage or against zone coverage. But if you know they're in man coverage, they're following you a lot across the field like this, then I would definitely put this guy on a flat because as you see, well, that was a bad rep, but as you see, this thing is lethal. Now, the problem is, and this is what I want to make very, very clear in just a second, I want to show it to you one more time against man coverage, and even if they're flipped, right, it doesn't really matter. If he's manned up, this thing just destroys it. And you see, this thing is just a beast against man coverage. One of the things I wanted to make very clear about this offense from the jump is if I come out in bunch tight end myself, so let's say I just come out in the bunch tight end, I can't hot route the bubble. So as you see, I can't hot route anybody for that matter, okay? It's only when I audible that I can hot route the bubble screen. So make sure that you are audibling from bunch X nasty, really any formation, into bunch tight end, and it will make this offense way, way more effective. This offense is just so simple, so effective, and really honestly just so glitchy. There's so many things you can do from it. But I do want to let you know about our school community. If you're not a school community member yet, it's only $10. Get you access to all of our offensive and defensive ebooks for both Madden and for college football. You'll get access to literally every single thing that I know about both games for just $10. If you guys want to sign up, that link is going to be in the description below, and you can sign up down below. So the main thing that you need to understand when running the RPO alert bubble out of the bunch tight end is that you need to be audibling into the play. So as you can see here, I have my short side bunch X nasty. I'm going to be audibling over into this play RPO bubble. And as soon as I audible, I'm going to immediately put Worthy here on a flat. So you'll see here, I'm going to audible and then I'm going to immediately put him on a flat. And as you can see, this, we're able to change a route on an RPO play when we really shouldn't be able to. And what you're going to see is this guy runs super flat, and it's a really, really good route to have to attack the defense. I'll show it to you a couple more times here. There's a lot of things. A lot of people will do is they'll play a hard flat, something like that right there. And that's going to obviously do some things. What I would recommend with this is you can untarget the safety or really any of them, and it'll make them block the slot a little bit better. The slot is the only player really on the field that can stop this bubble screen, or even like the outside receiver. I don't feel like he's really that big of a stress. So anyway, I would just honestly let's ID the slot. You can kind of mess around with this a little bit, but these untargeted IDs really can help the blocking on these RPO plays. The thing that I would say is if it is zone, I do think it's a little bit better to just run the bubble. But if it's man coverage, you're going to see a lot of people's solution to bubble screens is to just man it up. And if they just man this up, they'll never stop it. As you see, it just kills cover zero. And it's just one of the best plays in the entire game, in my opinion. And it's super hard to defend. I'm going to try to untarget the slot, just see if that does anything. Yeah, there you see, blocks it a little bit better. Yeah. So, anywho, guys, this bubble screen is really, really good, but it's only good if you audible into it. I just want to make that very, very clear. You have to be audibling into this screen. You cannot come out in it. If you come out in it, you cannot hot route. You need to be audibling into this. But if you audible into this screen, you're going to have so much success. And then what will happen eventually, like, is they could get really, really aggressive here, like especially down here in the red zone, like something like this. They'll get really, really aggressive. You can put him on a streak, right? So if you want to bluff it, put him on a streak, and you could potentially do that. That's more of a red zone thing specifically, but which we'll talk a little bit about down there. But yeah, just something to note. I mean, this thing is a beast. This thing's a money play. This thing is it's really good. I mean, it's basically a guaranteed 5 yards every single time. They have to switch stick over there to stop it. Even if they do switch stick over there to stop it, a lot of times the route's still open, right? The other thing with this is, man, just make sure that if they give you the look to run the ball, you run that ball, right? Trust the run game. Run game is out of this is pretty good. So anyway, if they ever look like they're guarding the bubble, you don't feel like you can fit that in, go ahead and just run the ball. But this is a power play. Like, this is a really, really good play. It's one of the best plays in the game. You need to be calling this a lot when you're running jets. It really is a pain in the neck to try to defend. So the main purpose of the audible over is to audible into bunch tight end and then put that bubble screen out there and make that a flat route. For the remainder of the breakdowns, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to come out in wide side bunch tight end, but just understand that the general principle that I always do when running this offense is I'm going to be audibling from short side bunch X nasty into wide side bunch tight end, and for you could audible it from anything really into that bunch tight end and make those hot routes. For this setup of the play spacing, we're going to be basically recreating a smash return type of concept. And we're going to illustrate this first and foremost against man coverage, and then we'll talk a little bit about it against zone, kind of show why it is such a good play. So a couple reasons why I like this play, and here's the setup. What we're going to basically do here is we are going to put our tight end on an in route. We're going to stem him up probably 3 to 4 times. So super deep in route. Actually, we'll do 3. So something like this. And let's do it one more. Actually, let's do it twice. We'll stem them up twice. And then basically what we're going to do is on this right-hand side, we're going to run a slant route to the inside bunch receiver, a return route to the outside bunch receiver, and a streak to the slot receiver. And basically the main purpose of calling this play is for this table route on the right side. You're going to see that it runs a little faster than a normal table. It's not as good as the one out of bunch X nasty, but it's still good. And so that's kind of your first read on the play. Can you hit this quick flat? It's really good if they're not hard flatting. Man coverage honestly plays it a little bit better than zone will. But anyway, that is something you want to look at. If he has space, you want to throw it if they're in a cover 0 blitz or something like that. It's a really nice thing to be able to hit. And then we just have basically a lot of man beating routes. We have a slant, we have a return route, and we have a tight end in route coming over the middle of the field. Super good play. It just has answers against pretty much every single coverage in this game. We'll do this again. And then once they start to go to more of a cover 0 type look, that's where the slant really comes in handy, because what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to go to the tight end route, and the running back route will pull the hard flat. So you see running back pulls that route or that zone, and then you have your slant in the back area. And then typically what will happen is this backside return route will normally do a really, really good job of getting separation late in the play. So kind of just run our play through here, and you see there's that return route late in the middle, wide open for a completion. So you have a couple of ways in which this play just gives you answers against a lot of coverage. It's basically a high-low in the middle of the field effectively. But let's talk about like cover 4, zone, different things like that. So if they run zone on you, obviously your first read is this table, and you see that table, if that's not a hard flat, that table is going to do a pretty decent job. What's also nice about the play is the tight end route is going to run, almost like a streak for a little while. And so while that tight end is running like a streak, let's say they run like a cover 4 hard flat or something, pretty popular zone defense. he'll pull the deep zones back, and then the running back will pull the flat zone out, and it leaves this little unique kind of window to hit the slant, even against drop 8 coverage. It just gets a nice kind of like basically a high-low on this sideline on the right-hand side. And then again, if you wait on this a little bit, you see, I mean, you can just kind of throw this slant open through the zones unless they use it. So, and then obviously if they do use with the slant, then your tight end route gets open. But you see, you can kind of throw them in between those two zones for an easy completion. Now, if they run like a cover 2, a lot of people like to run cover 2, especially on the tight end side of this formation. You have some answers to that as well. As you see, that guy backs up, we throw the flat, just take the easy read there to the right-hand side. Very simple high-low read there. And then, if they let's say they do like a soft squat or something over here, they do like a soft squat or something, you'll see he'll kind of bite down, and you see I'm gonna again throw that slant through there, through that little alleyway that's created. If those yellow zones are not on 5, the slant will be wide open. If the yellow zones are on 5, then your tight end will be a nice answer. But you see, nice little spot, and you can throw it like that. Same kind of thing on the left side. So like if they're not putting their hooks on 5, and really they run anything defensively, this is going to be a great read right there. And then what effectively is going to happen is, let's say they are putting their hooks on 5. Let's say they use the slant. Let's say they take the slant away and they're playing good defense. Then your last read here, or really your next read, is really to look for this tight end route. As you see, that high-low does a really nice job of being able to get separation against that defender. The next setup of the play spacing out of the gun bunch tight end formation is going to be kind of what I call like an isolation combination. Essentially, we're going to isolate this right-hand side of the field, and how we're going to do that is we're going to run a post on the inside bunch receiver, a seam streak on the outside, or the slot receiver, and then we're going to run a in route to the outside bunch receiver, and we're going to have our tight end on a corner. So what this combination effectively does, as far as how we're going to read this, is we're really looking to that right side first. If the defenders back up, we're going to throw this running back table. So you see they kind of backed up like there. We'll just take that quick dump down to the running back table. But what's nice about this play is if, let's say, they hard flat on this right side. If they hard flat on this right side, then you'll see that this tight end sharp corner does a really good job of kind of getting separation. And the main reason for that is that post route on the back side. It's going to help kind of add an added layer of clear out. If they don't put the yellow zones on 5, there's a little pocket to throw that in route quick on that left-hand side. Just a nice little check down read that's going to force them to put their hooks on 5. And then when they put their hooks on 5, there's a lot of things that are going to be available to us. If they are in like just a true cover 4 drop style defense, you'll see here that curl flat will defend that tight end. But like I said, one of the most popular defenses you'll face when you run bunch tight end is you're going to get a lot of cover 2 to the tight end side. That's one of the most popular ways that people like to play this formation. And so you see how much more open the running back is against a cover 2, and you can just kind of get those easy yards on that right-hand side there. So what people will start to do is they'll mix in different adjustments. One of them will be they will actually hard flat and they'll shade down in a cover 2 on the right. If they ever do that, you see that tight end, he just gets wide open. Mahomes kind of sailed the throw there, but the tight end's going to get wide open on the corner route. It's just something that you need to just need to know that. And there's a couple of other more adjusty variations of this. For example, you might get like a cover 2, but you might get the tight end manned up or something like this. What's nice is this corner route, pretty good job of getting that separation on the outside. If Mahomes could make the throw, let's just see if we can actually make a throw here. But you'll get a man up on the tight end and then like a hard flat or something like that. Pretty popular. And you'll see here, tight end can get that nice separation. So anyway, you just get some really nice answers against those different defenses. And obviously if they play cover 2 cloud flat, then, you're just going to take your running back route underneath. Now, the other thing with this play is, let's say they put like a soft squat over there. So if they put like a soft squat over there, then that's like a cover 2 sink right? Take a look at how the soft squat plays. You see how he kind of takes that tight end, so it's more like a cloud. He backs up. Soft squats are kind of broken, but essentially you can just check it right down to the flat, gets us easy yardage. Another thing that'll happen that a lot of people will do is they'll play like a cover 2 to the left side. So let's say they did like essentially be like cover 3 to the tight end side, so it looked like this, and then be like a cover 3 rollover type of situation. So if they're in something like this, let's say that they like stay low on the post, then what you're able to do here is, they take the in route. You can kind of throw the post in that little window between the corner route, basically between the 2/3. And it kind of depends a little bit on how they actually end up doing it. For example, like let's say they did a rolled over cover 3 cloud with shaded down hooks, and then they have this guy in a hook like this or something. Put this guy in a flat, actually. Like this, another coverage you'll get some of. What's nice is the streak is going to pull the middle third. So because the streak pulls the middle third, and let's say the yellows kind of stay down on this in route, you'll see that this post route can actually be thrown in this little pocket right here and can actually be a potential big hitter against different things they may want to do. As far as how this play goes against any kind of man coverage, it's not terrible against man coverage either. Your tight end corner is kind of your main read against man coverage because he just has the best positioning. So as you see, tight end corner, Mahomes has got to make better throws. Man, Mahomes, we gotta be better, buddy. But the tight end should be pretty consistent for you against man. And then the backside reads are also all there. So you'll see here, tight end corner, see how he just gets good leverage, and it's going to be a quick throw. And then on the backside of that, normally one of the players, if not both the players, will win, and it kind of becomes another, we're just looking at the user essentially. Does he take the post? Does he take the in route? Typically he'll take the post, but if he doesn't take that post, that's going to be a touchdown if they're in any kind of cover 0 type of defense. So this play all around, just a good high-level play that beats pretty much every single defense in the game. The next setup of the play spacing out of the bunch tight end formation is we are going to post our inside bunch receiver. We're going to streak our slot receiver. We're going to corner route our outside bunch receiver, and we're going to stim him down one time. So it looks like this. And then with the tight end, we're going to put him on a return route. Now, the reason that I like this play is because it gives us a really nice high-low in the middle of the field. It also creates a little throwing window to hit our tight end. One of the most popular coverages that you're going to see in this game when people are trying to defend bunch tight end is they're going to play what I call a cover 3 cloud to the left-hand side here. And essentially what's going to happen is typically the user will kind of like go up here to the post route normally. So I'll just kind of man him up on circle. And then, you might get any variation. Typically you'll get a send 4, right? This guy will actually blitz, but it'll look something like that. So what's going to happen here is this running back table is going to do a good job of pulling the flat defender out. And then there'll be this little pocket right here where you can hit that tight end on that right-hand side. What that does is that forces them to have another zone on the tight end side, which is going to limit what they can do defensively to defend us on the bunch side, right? And so that's a big piece of the play. Now, the other part of this play is, as I said, if they're running any kind of like cover 3 cloud or, anything like that, what we're going to be able to also do against a cover 3 cloud type of defense, because typically people have their safeties kind of down like this or something. But basically what that would then mean depends a little bit on how the user, like I said, but let's say that the user is going to be a little bit more over here so that he can defend the tight end, right? So if the user kind of stays over there to defend the tight end, what that does is that leaves this seam streak wide open to the slot. So you'll see here, right? He kind of can just pop through that coverage. If they don't switch stick that, that's going to be a touchdown. Now, if they do switch stick that, then what basically happens is you have this high-low over the middle of the field where you're able to do a lot. So let's say that if you just practically think about like how they have to defend this play, they basically have to switch stick onto the deep zones, right? So they have to switch stick on this guy and run him into coverage over here. That's like the main thing they have to do. And then the corner route will also get over the cloud flat. So there's just a lot for them to defend here. And if they stay in the middle of the field, we have a lot of answers to the left-hand side. So I'm going to show you one of the other answers we have to the left side, and then we'll talk about what to do once they actually switch stick. So again, one of our other answers here to this left-hand side is this corner route will clear a cloud. So you'll see here, right? Whoops. Well, see, that's what's kind of tricky is they have to kind of, I'm going to leave the half here because the half will kind of reflect a little bit more of what would actually practically happen. If they put that third there, it's a touchdown because we can throw the ball to the seam streak, right? So, it'd be something like this. And then what you're really looking for is this corner route over the top of the cloud defender, assuming the deep half can't get there. So right about there, as you see, he clears that cloud. And so now they have a lot of issues, right? Because now they have to defend all that. The other big element of this is, let's say they do like cover 4, cover 3 hard flat here on the left-hand side, then you're still going to be in a good spot. You can put this this corner route in a good spot against that. So you'll see here, just pass it down and away. A lot of times he'll make that catch over there on the left side. You can just put it where only your receiver can catch it. So if you think about all this, what does this leave for the user, and how do they actually practically, what can they realistically do to stop it? So what they realistically can do is cover 3 cloud. This will kind of roll this guy over, and then they would basically have to switch stick on this guy and essentially run him into coverage over to this side of the field. What that then leaves them with is these hook zones over the middle of the field. And those hook zones can really do one of two things. They can either back up or they can go vertical. But the bottom line is, because that middle third can't defend the post, they don't really have anybody that can defend this post route other than the yellow. So if the yellows go down, then we can throw that post in between those deep blues, as you see right there. Or let's say you get a situation like this where the yellows kind of go up vertically with that defender. Then this is just assuming they switch stick to the left side, because that's kind of the main thing that's open. Well, then if the yellows go up like that, then late in the play, you can just check down to your tight end route. So you just have a lot of answers on this play. I think this is a really, really good play that attacks a lot of the weak spots of zone coverage. Now, if your opponent runs man coverage, specifically if they run like not a 2-man under, so if it's like cover 1 off, any kind of off coverage, basically, this play does really good against. If it is press man coverage, I'd say call a different play. The play can still work, but I just think it's not as good. There's other plays that are better. But anyway, what you'll see here is a lot of times you see how that corner route just kind of roasted that man coverage defender. That is the beauty of this, corner route. When you stem it down once, it just really does a good job of, being able to get over the top of the defender. And then, let's say they start doing some shading and things like that, start shading outside or whatever. Then what you're going to be able to do here is you're going to be able to, and this isn't even shaded outside, but you just see that post isolated over the middle. That's going to be another man coverage answer. And so now they are in kind of a spot, right? You have to put a zone on the left to take that away. You have to use the post. There's just a lot of things they have to ultimately guard. And so because of that, that then leaves us tight end, and the tight end is an unbumpable receiver. So because the tight end is unbumpable, this little return route will do a little bit better job. So if they're doing anything over there, you'll see normally this return route, I think I manned up against the best player on their team. But anyway, that return route is normally a great little late in the play check down that you can use. Now, just for sake of illustration here, I did want to show this against press man just so you can kind of get a full picture of the different things they can do defensively. The biggest thing with this against press man-to-man is you're really looking for the post route or the corner route as well. This table route could be open, but honestly, a lot of times it ultimately is just going to typically be the return route. If you get a good matchup there, it's going to be a nice answer for you against man coverage. But this is a really versatile play, very difficult for them to defend, and attacks a lot of the field. PA boot over is one of the best passing plays every single year, and it's really no different this year. There's a lot of ways to be able to run this play at a very high level. I'm going to be showing you a base setup that I really, really like out of this play that's going to give you answers against pretty much every single coverage in this game. So what I like to do with this play as far as a setup goes is we're going to return route our outside bunch receiver. We're going to streak our tight end, and then we're going to take our running back and we're going to put him on a little in route right here. So I know it looks a little tight, little wonky, but you're going to have a lot of answers. If you want to put your running back on a swing, you could also do that. But I think the in route just makes a little bit more sense in terms of how good these running back routes are when they cross the field this year. So as far as our reads on this play, basically we're going to have our tight end streak off the rip. We're going to always look at that first. Then we're going to get to this like underneath crosser to the inside bunch receiver. Then we're going to get to kind of that running back in route, and then we're going to get to the crosser and the return route. If you want to, if you're getting pressured, you can run this exact setup and just block your running back, and you'll pick up 99% of blitzes in this game. So anyways, you'll see here crosser or the running back, and the main read here is going to be this crosser over here on the right-hand side. Got kind of a weird animation there. Let me try to show that a little bit better here. And again, I'm going to pivot over. And the other thing is this little shallow crosser kind of gets into, like I said, a nice area of the field. Now, the thing about this shallow crosser, this is why I like to sometimes swing the back. So what this shallow crosser is a little bit more like a slant than it is like a drag. So it's not really going to go like to the flat area. It's really more of like I said, like a curl flat. So if they're curl flatting, they'll have a chance to stop it. But watch how this plays like if you run a swing and a flat. You see how that flat goes super low? And then this throw is able to be thrown. So that's something else with this play that I really like is, potentially if you want to swing the running back, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you here is if they are hard flatting and you don't have a flat route, you'll see that he'll normally still kind of, didn't quite get over the top like I wanted him to. But in general, gonna have to obviously read it. Then the other thing about this route is this route can, if they're not running like a hard flat, you can kind of throw him before he gets there, and it could be an option for you as well. So anyway, that's just a quick read. Normally, that's not going to be there. Normally, they're going to be playing good defense on it because the user's going to kind of sit on it, and then they're going to have some type of flat defender over there to handle it, right? And so the main read on this play is really this crosser kind of gets in this soft spot of the field, right in that little area. Try to throw that a little bit better here. Also, you're not going to get a lot of cover four. Cover four just so happens to be actually one of the better coverages for this play. But anyway, we'll show you here. So you see, kind of throw that crosser right in that little pocket before he gets to the quarter. And you see, pretty nice little route, right? Now, what most people are going to do against you, if they're running like a cover two, a lot of people like to do this, where they're going to basically they're going to have this cloud flat here, and they're not going to have a quarter, right? And so when they do that, that's where this play really shines because they don't really have anyone over the top of this. You see how that middle third has to go to that tight end streak, and then this kind of hits over the top. So really the only way for them to defend this crosser well is from a cover four on that side of the field. But obviously that leaves, a lot of vulnerability in terms of what we can do on the back side of the field. And this is where I love this running back in route and this little return route as kind of my late in the read play. So you're going to see here, the running back in route kind of clears out the flat, and then that throw gets wide open against the defense in that regard. And then another reason why I really like this is, let's say they're playing any kind of like cover two with a little yellow zone over there. This is where I love this running back route because this running back route will just get into a soft spot against the defense. You'll just kind of see, kind of late in the play, he will get open. Let me throw that. Let me show that one more time here. So cover two. And if they're playing that cover two, obviously the user has to kind of take the crosser. And then this little running back route, you'll see kind of late in this play, he'll kind of be open to that flat. It kind of depends a little bit on what they're doing with that outside flat defender as well. But that flat defender actually is playing super low. But anyway, this is just something I like to call, kind of depending on, what they're doing. But a lot of times you can throw that running back kind of in that little soft spot right there against cover two, and it will normally do a pretty good job for you. But in general, the other thing that I like this play for is this play is really good against man coverage. So it's really good against man coverage, which is also one of the main reasons you would call it. And so, because you just have a lot of answers, you have a lot of crossing routes. So this first one, this route will normally do a good job if they don't have a flat defender. So like, let's say you're playing cover two man or something like that. Then this inside bunch receiver normally will do a really good job of getting separation across the middle. and then the other route. So let's say they start to hard flat that, or they start to adjust to that, then your crosser over the top is going to do a really good job. So you'll see here, right, my slot crosser and my return route, both of those give you a good chance to win. The thing about man coverage is sometimes man coverage just goes crazy. That's just kind of the nature of it. It always has done that. And so, you know, you just want to have basically enough routes with answers. You want the routes you have to ultimately have answers. Here you see that time the crosser doing a really nice job of being able to get separation against man coverage. And then, you know, the other thing is if they're putting a lot of energy into trying to stop the crosser, trying to stop some of the things over there, then they're going to give themselves, you know, kind of a bad leverage for the running back. And a lot of times this running back can kind of just sneak across the field, gives them a lot of space to be able to run against man and be able to attack the defense. Pivot over is a great play because it has play action blocking. One of the big keys to this is you want to make sure that auto pass protection is on empty, but we're going to be showing you some freestyle random combos that I really like out of the play action because you have that play action blocking. Starting with this one. This one's probably my favorite combination to have. If some bunch tight ends have this a little bit better setup for you in the play PA verticals, but this is just a zone killer. It doesn't really matter. It could beat man coverage too, but you have a lot of answers against zone. It's one of the best combos in the game. What you're going to do is you're going to slot fade your outside bunch receiver. You're going to seam streak your slot receiver. You're going to corner route your inside bunch receiver, and you're going to stem that corner all the way down as far as it'll go. And then you are going to drag your tight end, and you are going to Texas route your running back. So what this combination practically is a super flood to the left side. We're attacking the left side with everything that we have, and this will force them to have to play specific coverages to the left side. They really cannot defend this left side in almost anything, but they definitely cannot defend the left side in cover 4 or cover 3. And then we have man coverage answers as well. So our first read on the play is really always looking at the seam streak to the slot fade, and then we're getting to that high-low between the corner route and the drag, and then our backside check down is going to be the running back route. So we'll take a peek at the seam streak, but really, if it's cover 4, cover 3, that corner route's going to be wide open. It's really hard. It's going to be really hard for them to stop that corner route because the big thing to look for here is if they do switch stick to defend the corner route out of like a cover 4, then your slot fade will be a touchdown. So that's why slot fades are so important in this game. And it's honestly why formations like this are so darn good. But let's say, for example, that they do something to try to stop the corner route. They switch stick it or whatever. There's not enough zone integrity, coverage integrity for them to be able to do that properly. And so what you'll see here is that slot fade will now be in a position, right, to be able to, and again, we're just envisioning like if they switch stick it, right? Now, the next coverage, the coverage that you want to be prepared to be able to attack is a cover 3 cloud. A lot of people like the cover 3 cloud against bunch tight end, and they'll play cover 3 here to the backside. It's very popular. Well, what we're able to do against that is that's why this slot seam streak's on the field. This slot seam streak, it's really hard for this middle third to guard it. They basically would have to switch stick onto him almost instantly. But if they don't, as you see, I mean, he is going to get into a really, really nice pocket, a really nice spot on the field. And even if they deep half, I'll show cover 3 cloud one more time because I just want to show you the actual throw. But even if they deep half, a lot of times the deep half won't be able to defend it either, this seam streak, because, you know, again, because of the slot fade realistically. Okay, so the game's just not going to let us throw a wide open player. That's awesome. I'm going to leave the deep half on this time. The deep half will do a better job, but it really just comes down to, can you throw this before the safety gets over there? So, you know, that's really the biggest thing, honestly. Oh, I left the mid read on. If they leave the mid read on, then you're not hit. But if they shade down their hooks, which is pretty popular, which against bunch tight end, you would want to do that, because if you don't shade down your hooks against bunch tight end, there's just so many little things you can get wide open. But you see, okay, Mahomes just can't make this throw, I guess. Awesome. Mahomes is riding the struggle bus today. But anyway, I'm going to throw it one more time, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we're going to try to hit it one more time. This throw is just a really critical throw to be able to make because this really limits what they can do. This is the defense they're going to... Okay, we got a red on that. That's crazy that I got a red. But anyway, It is open. You just got to be able to make the throw. The other thing about this is what's nice is a cover three cloud like this. People would think, oh, that's going to take this away. Because of the slot fade, the corner route will actually run over the top of the cloud. So again, this is where the high-low comes in. You're basically high-lowing the left flat defender. There's not a whole lot they can do other than run their corner route actually terribly, Mr. Brown. There's not a whole lot they can do to basically guard this. So because if they're gonna stay at home on the angle route in the middle of the field or anything like that, a lot of times you'll see this corner route just run over the top of the cloud. Eventually, okay, we're not going to run over the top of the cloud. Awesome. Well, you could throw your tight end underneath of it. Corner route's not really cooperating. If you want your corner route to run a little bit deeper, what you can do is you can, like, the stem down is really for cover four. But if you know they're cover twoing, don't stem him all the way down. Leave him like one here. You'll see he'll run a little deeper here. And now, as you see, he clears perfectly. So, sorry, a little bit of a workaround to try to actually show that, but that's how it works. And then the other thing with this play that makes it really good is if they do cloud like that, where the guy carries and let's say you guess wrong or whatever, and for whatever reason, their flat defender just defends the corner route. Well, they can't really defend the tight end. And so you'll see right here, right, late in the play, the tight end underneath is normally open. I think I accidentally hard flatted there, but in general, you know, if they cloud, then your tight end is going to get open. If they zone drop, your tight end is going to get open. So your tight end is a great little like versatile check down on the play and kind of completes that left side flood of high-lowing the defenders. Now, as far as like, now we're going to get into like different ways they could defend this. So a couple things. The first one is basically this. The main thing you've got to watch for is a switch stick and a double flat. So let's say they did like a flat for the drag. Let's say they did this guy, which they're going to switch onto him. They have the third for the slot fade. They have this guy for the, you know what I'm saying? But you see how much they have to adjust, right? But what this does, and again, most people like to send four, but what this practically is going to do is it's going to basically leave this running back wide open if you just think about like how it's all going to happen. And so what you can do here is, number one, you can playmaker the running back up because the vertical, the slot fade and the seam streak are going to pull those deep zones. So just left trigger, right stick up. You see how we could just playmaker the running back up into a void. That's an option. Or you could also just let the running back like run his route. It just kind of depends a little bit on how they're practically, you know, going to defend this. But let's say, for example, that they cut this drag underneath or something, which is pretty common. And then, you know, again, you have like the double flatting here, something like this. And they just vacate the whole middle of the field and they have to switch stick because they have to go stop the deep stuff that we have on the play. Then it just leaves them very susceptible to this little throw right here, just checking down to the running back angle route. So that's one of my favorite little backside combos. And then let's talk about man coverage. So if they do run man, if they run off coverage man like this, it's a little easier and you'll have a little bit more answers. So first and foremost, the best route you have on the field, whether it's two man under, like, it doesn't matter what man coverage they're doing. The best route you have on the field is your running back on the Texas. That is by far and away the best route against man. So you see he'll cut. He gets inside separation, even though they shade inside. And you see what I'm saying? It's the best route you have. So normally what that means, and if you're playing somebody decent, they're going to use the best route you have. So if the best route I have is a Texas route, I can pretty much expect the user to stay in the middle of the field, right? Because it's the best route I have on the play, okay? And if they don't guard it, then I'll throw it, right? But what I'm able to do here is on the left-hand side, I now have a corner route that could potentially win. The corner route's a little inconsistent. As you can see, it's like I said, if I'm getting a ton of man, I'll probably call a different play. But because there are just other ways, better ways to consistently beat man coverage. However, this corner route, it certainly can win. And then also your tight end drag is really your other, I think, good route against man. Just check down there, possession, catch that, and try to hit the man coverage that way. So anyway, this is just one of my favorite plays in the game. I think this play just gives you a lot of answers against different things. If they are going to send a cover zero, you can throw your streak over the top as well. That's going to give you some options. But in general, if they have a flat defender over there on the left side and they user the tight end, you kind of need this corner route to win. And if he doesn't win, he doesn't win ultimately. If you really wanted to, if you knew, like I said, if you know it's man coverage, or if it's like they're running a lot of man coverage, there's just better plays. This is really specifically just one of the best zone beaters in the entire game, just because it's really hard for them to defend it. The corner route's the real answer against man coverage, but if he doesn't run it well, he doesn't run it well. And that's just kind of one of those things where it's like sometimes, plays are better against zone the man. And they have to have a flat on the left, and they have to use the running back. So, which is also very specific. So, anywho, if they don't have a flat, then normally that tight end will be able to get some separation for you against man. Another setup I really like out of the play PA boot over is I love this one right here. It's going to use the stemmed up curl route. So what we're going to do is we're going to streak the tight end. We're going to have the running back on the in route, and we're going to put the ISO or the outside bunch receiver on a curl. We're going to stem him up once. And the reason for this combination is it's going to give us a high-low read on the right, and then it's going to give us a really nice route combo specifically for when your opponent is wanting to put their hooks on 5. Like, it's really good against that, or if they're running cover 2 to the right side. So essentially how this kind of plays out is if they put their hooks on 5, you'll see the running back kind of holds those yellows down, and then there's this massive position to be able to kind of hit this route in a nice little window for your offense. So again, if I go cover 2 here, I'm going to put those hooks on 5. And then, let's say a lot of people like to run cover 3 cloud against this. They do something like that. Then what you're going to see here is if we run this combination by stemming this guy up 1, you're going to see that these yellow zones really just don't have the positioning to be able to play that curl. And it really does make a big difference. Another thing about this is because we're running the running back underneath in such a significant, lower area of the field, then what will also happen here is the running back can even be a potential option if they cloud flat out of a cover 2. So this is just one of those plays I really, really like because it gives us, didn't quite get underneath the cover 2 like I wanted it to, but it just gives us a really nice option specifically for when they're putting those hooks on 5, they're shading underneath. And then the other thing about this is, let's say that they run that kind of defense, but they run their, defense like this, for example, then this tight end will clear a deep half, and then the crosser will get over the top of the cloud. So, you'll have the ability to have this kind of backside high-low as well that I think is super relevant, provided Mahomes can actually make an accurate throw on the ball. Now, that being said, the other thing that you have to kind of think about is if they are playing like a cover 4, it'll be a little different. Cover 4 hard flat or something like that will be a little bit different. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but you see that crosser does a nice job of getting into a nice area of the field. I also really love this play against like cover 0 blitzes or anything like that, because what happens most of the time is they're going to go user the crosser, and then your curl will be wide open here. So you'll see here, like right on the cut, curl gets wide open. It's just a simple, easy route that does a good job of beating man coverage. And then let's say that they switch stick or they do whatever to try to stop it. Well, then your crosser becomes much, much more viable here. If they don't use the crosser has been one of the most consistent man beating routes all year long. Shout out to practice mode. Shout out to blitz angles. Shout out to the most random instant B gap I've ever seen in my life. But we will see this one more time. And what we should get here is this crosser across the field. Really nice route for man. And shout out to 23. Shout out to Juju. Juju is not even supposed to be in the game. You should never, ever see your field. But just to show off how good this crosser is, we're going to try to throw it one more time here. And you see, crosser beats man coverage. So you have a nice answer against man coverage in that way. Another thing about this that I really like, let's say it's like a 2-man under. I think the crosser is a lot better against like press man than any real other route that you could put him on. So, it's another good answer for like a cover 2 man or something like that. Number one, your running back in route crosses the face. You see he goes against one of their better players, and he's going to get open on that little running back in route. And then the other thing that you have in terms of, man-to-man beating capabilities here is this little short crosser, especially 2 men under, because a 2 men under, normally they're not going to have 2 flats. So if they don't have 2 flats, like this guy is open. It's going to be wide open to the right if they don't have someone there to help. And then the other thing is ultimately your crosser should do a really good job of beating man coverage if they're using any other route. So a lot of times they will just use the crosser. Juju kind of got bagged there, but we can also throw our sim down curl. So this is just one of my go-to plays. It's a great kind of counter play. It gives you a lot of answers, both against man coverage and the standard zone coverage. And then let's say they don't shade their yellows down for whatever reason, right? Let's say they don't do something like that. Your running back does a good job of just getting underneath the zones, and then we just turn up field and get some easy yardage on a check down. To play mesh out of the gun bunch tight end formation is going to afford us a lot of different variety of options in terms of what we can do, not only from a setup perspective, but also from just the coverages that we're able to attack with this play. So the way that I like to run this play is really, really simple. I'm just going to stem this corner route all the way down. I'm going to put a slot fade here on the slot receiver. I'm going to streak my inside bunch receiver here, and then I'm going to put my running back on a Texas route. The reason I like this combo is this is going to give you a lot of answers against different coverages that your opponent is going to run. Effectively, what we have here is we have a high-low read to the left side of the screen, and then we have a backside kind of high-low read within the middle of the field. So our first read, we're always going to kind of peek at this seam streak and slot fade, but then we're really quickly going to get to this corner route. As you see, that corner route is going to get over the top and just gets into a really unique space of the field that they're going to have to respect. And really you can't guard it in zone. It's very difficult to guard in zone. That's what makes bunch tight end, I think, really good. It's just because it really does a good job of kind of flooding the side. They're going to have to switch stick over there. You'll see that he'll clear like a standard cloud flat depth. They're going to have to drop the zones back or whatever, right? They're going to have different answers. And then the problem with that is, like, if they're playing a curl flat or a cloud flat type of coverage, then what we're going to be able to do on this play is we're just going to be able to also hit this tight end kind of underneath in this little soft spot of the defense. So we have really easy answers where if they switch stick to the left side, we could just hit the tight end underneath. And then let's say that they switch stick onto this quarter. A lot of people will do that. They'll switch stick onto this quarter. The biggest kind of way I'm going to illustrate that is just with a simple cloud. But basically what's going to happen is if they switch stick to that corner, then this little slot fade here is going to do a good job of kind of just clearing over the top. So if they make a mistake in their defense, that's always something that you want to have, because you want to be able to look at that. And that just does a really good job, because you do that a couple of times, they're going to be a lot less likely to obviously switch there. As far as cover two goes, I did want to point out one thing about this this combination, and that is this slot fade. I'll kind of show you what will happen here. But basically, this kind of mid read is going to do a good job of there. And then you see how the deep half plays that. So in terms of like a cover two beater, it's not going to pop cover two like that. You're going to have to hit your corner route. However, let's say that they run, which a lot of people like to run this year. A lot of people love to run, this kind of cover three cloud type of defense. This will do a really good job against that. And the reason being is because the middle third in this game is honestly, it's just a very slow zone. It gets to its position on the field fairly slow. And so basically you'll see here that you can kind of throw this seam streak. It's why I like to have that on the play, so they can't run a cover three cloud on us. And then, you're going to force them back into kind of that deep half or something like that. So anyways, bottom line is I really, really, really like this play, specifically against zone coverage. Now, let's talk about what we can do on the backside of this. So what's nice about the backside of this play is it gives us really good answers against man coverage. It also, let's say they switch stick over there and they're just playing really good with their user, then we can just kind of get backside here and just throw this Texas route kind of in this area of the field. It's one of the better check down type routes in this game that will also do a good job of beating man. So if you're getting a man-to-man look, obviously the first thing you want to do is you want to look at this corner route to the left-hand side, but then you want to get your eyes back over the middle, because the best man-beating route on the play is actually going to be this running back. So we'll show that one more time here. This time we'll actually play cover 0. And if they're running cover 0 with 2 flats and user in the middle of the field, a lot of times this corner could be an option for you as well, especially against cover 0. So we'll kind of look. You see how he just roasted the man coverage defender? Not going to happen every single time, but the times that it does happen, it makes this play just really difficult to defend, because you have a man beating the answer with that little corner route. And then on the backside, let's say they put safety help over the top or whatever, they basically just start to run out of resources, and they can't guard the drag. They can't guard all of those things in one. So again, we just like to stem this down, but effectively here, you see how that running back just gets really nice separation against the man coverage. One of the best ways to beat man coverage out of bunch tight end is with this quick flat. I'm going to show you out of the play mesh. Now, as far as the setup goes on this play, you can kind of do a couple of different things that you want to do. But basically what I end up normally doing here is I'm just going to take this left side outside bunch receiver, and I'm going to put him on a smart routed or just deeper in route. So I'm going to stem him up 2 to 3 times. So you see a little deeper in route like this. And basically this is what the play is going to look like. And what we're going to do is you're going to see that in bunch tight end, when you have this little quick flat, a lot of times that man-man defender is going to struggle to basically get out there, especially here. Let's see if I can actually show you. A lot of nickel defenses will line up like this right here. And so when the nickel defense lines up like this, you'll get kind of a natural pick and rub. And so what you'll see is that guy gets kind of chipped, and then this is just going to be a quick, answer to a lot of ways that people like to run man coverage. Now, if you get a cover 0, for example, you're going to see, even though this linebacker is going to be on a hard flat, he's still going to kind of struggle to get out on this. And then the safety is going to be fairly slow as well. So you see how you can kind of still just throw this, and it's just a quick answer, right, to man coverage. Getting the ball out quickly is obviously super, super helpful. And so then the other thing that kind of starts to happen with this play in terms of its answers against man coverage is they have to have a flat defender there. And so because of that, now your running back will pull out the flat zone, and this little receiver flat will pull out the flat zone, and then you have these 2 drags here. So what's nice about these 2 drags is they both are going to do decent against man coverage. They're not 100% in this game against man-to-man, but they are relatively consistent. They're one of the more consistent man-beating routes in the game, really both of them. You'll just see here. And then also, if they are playing true man coverage where they put, a lot of people in coverage, there's obviously that answer to simply just scrambling. What a lot of people will do when they put those flats out there is they'll play like cover 0 or something like this. And so when they start to put, those flat defenders outside to help, then you're going to be able to, have a lot of space now to be able to throw, as you see that tight end drag, a little bit better than against like 2-man under specifically. But in general, that's one of my favorite ways to attack the defense. A lot of people like to play cover 2 to the trips or to the bunch side here. If they play cover 2 on you, this little flat is going to do a pretty good job. Again, it just gets nice animation. It's a quick throw, but it is a very effective throw, and it just kind of forces them to have to play a little bit differently. Now, if these yellow zones kind of back up a little bit after the ball snapped, you're also going to see here that you can throw this tight end, and you kind of have like a lead blocker if you're able to break that tackle. So you're able to have just some quick answers for different coverages. Another thing that people really like to do in this game is they love to play kind of like a roll type of coverage. So something like this. If they do this, the user is going to get put in a lot of conflict. So basically the user has to make a decision. Is he going to guard the underneath middle area of the field where we could throw this slot receiver drag, or is he going to guard the in route? So essentially here, if they play good coverage, well, you see how that in route gets open in that back area of the zone coverage. And so what'll happen a lot of times in terms of how people want to play defense is they'll kind of like essentially drop their user over the middle and they'll kind of like hang back to go guard that route. The problem with that is if they do that adjustment, then what you're going to see is you can throw this quick drag right in that little soft spot of the defense. So you have multiple answers against multiple different coverages. Obviously, if they, for whatever reason, are playing like no flat defender here to the right side, which I have seen people do something like this, so that they can kind of sit over the middle, then you can actually hit this swing route kind of late in the play. So you'll see he's just going to kind of curl up, and then that drag route will be kind of an extra blocker for you as well. So you just have a lot of answers against a lot of different coverages. When they start to kind of get over adjusty, this is a play that I like to go to just because there's just so many, quick hitting options. Does a really good job against both man coverage and zone coverage. Well, hey, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the bunch tight end and just some of the different things that you can do from this amazing, amazing offense. If you're looking to take your game to the next level in both Madden and college football, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below to our school community. That's where you can get access to all of our offensive and defensive ebooks for just $10. It gets you access to literally everything I know about both games. You can take your game to the next level today for just $10. That link is in the description below.